clock clicked as the hour hand moved to the 8. I jumped up from my middle splits and darted to the locker room. I quickly changed out of my leotard and bundled myself up. I gathered my practice gear in one hand, my gym bag in the other. I crammed my practice stuff into the bag. I felt as if I was in a race against time. Quickly, I moved towards the door and swung it open. I saw my mom at a distance tapping her foot impatiently. She handed each of us our heated TV dinners as we hurried past her. We all knew it was going to be an adventure tonight. Running out of the summit, Nicole, Casey, Amber, Anna, and I found our way to the big red bus, the Red Excursion. We filed in one at a time with our gym bags on our backs and our TV dinners in our hands as we prepared ourselves for the 64-mile trip home. You could smell the diesel as our big red bus roared when it started up. We began our trip home. Our eyes in a tired gaze watched out the window. As we passed Wendy's, all of us secretly wished we could get Frosties, but knowing it would be a long trip home, we resisted the urge to ask. We entered the highway. I watched as the exit slowly passed by. The sound of the tires soothed me as I remember some unforgettable memories of being with my wonderful carpool girls. Passing exit 93, Saginaw Highway, I couldn't help but think of the countless Friday nights we spent the night in a hotel because we had to get up early the next morning for yet another workout. I recalled watching movies and playing games. Most of all, I felt as if I could smell the waffles and taste the syrup we ate for breakfast. The options for breakfast were always almost endless, but I liked our traditions of waffles. Although today was not a Friday, I really wanted to spend the night in a hotel rather than having to make the treacherous trip home. I watched as the cars flew by, their headlights blinding my eyes in the darkness as they passed. I looked out the other window to avoid their lights. I noticed Speedway and McDonald's up the 86 Grand Ledge exit ramp. Flashbacks of meeting Coach Carey in the Speedway parking lot filled my thoughts. Anna was our youngest member of the carpool, and she used to practice at another one of the gym's location. Coach Carey would drop her off after practice at the Speedway to make our drive a little shorter. Some days, while we were waiting, we would go over to McDonald's and get ice cream cones. The ice cream would chill us from the inside out, sending shivers up our spines. The lights in the excursion began to turn off. It was bedtime for most of the girls as we passed exit 77. I sat in the darkness now, thinking and pondering how long it would take us to get home this time. We had driven through many storms before, but as we gradually approached the shores of Lake Michigan, the roads got slicker and visibility became less and less. Time slowly passed and my heart pounded, as it always did when we had to drive in snowstorms. What seemed like hours later, we finally passed our halfway point, exit 67, Ionia. I spotted the chicken farm and couldn't help but chuckle. Just a few weeks before, one of the girls in carpool was asked what kind of farm it was. She responded with, "I don't know, a fish farm maybe?" We all chuckled at the idea of a fish farm existing, let alone in the middle of Michigan. My mom's cell phone rang and snapped me out of my thoughtful daze. She put me in charge of answering it from here on out because she had to focus all her attention on the road. It rang again. I answered it. My dad was on the other end. He informed me that the police were going to shut down the highway soon due to the bad weather. We were almost to exit 52 Lowell. We had to make it past this exit before the highway was closed, or else we would be stranded at this exit until the highway was reopened. At this point, there was no sign that the snow was going to let up. Thoughts ran through my head wondering if we would ever make it home. We made it! We made it to Lowell. We pulled off the road for a moment to get gas and to use the bathroom. Nicole had already gone in a cup in the car because she couldn't hold it anymore. Leaving the gas station, we stopped to wait to turn back onto the slippery roads. Crunch! Someone ran into us from behind. Shaking now from the initial shock, I stepped out into the cold where my mom and I checked the damage. The damage was minimal, and we were still racing time. So we exchanged numbers and hopped back into the big red bus to continue on. My dad called again. We talked for a few minutes before we approached exit 43 28th Street. My dad finished giving me the weather and traffic update. The roads were being shut down as quickly as the cops could block them off. We were on the home stretch and determined to make it home. I woke the girls so they could gather their belongings. We wanted to make the transition to their own cars as easy as possible. We were what seemed like the only car on the road at this point. I could see the glow of an exit ahead. I pointed it out. I was exhausted yet excited. We made it! Entering the exit ramp, we began to slide. The roads remained unplowed. My mom managed to gain control again of The big red excursion. I got yet another call from my dad. A smile began to creep across my face as his words reached my ear. All schools in western Michigan have been closed for tomorrow. Snow day! I learned something that day in the wintry storm. You make your own adventures and memories. That day we took the highway, the road less traveled. It was the first of many roads I would take that were less traveled, and I wouldn't have it any other way.